All right, guys, back on Southeastern 16 with Max Barr. We waited until the finish of the Tennessee Volunteers, the number one team in the AP poll, Max. A thrilling buzzer beater victory at Illinois. The Vols down the Illini. The Jordan Gainey legacy game official, Max. We're going to get to that. We got a lot to get to. Kentucky beats Louisville. Things got a little feisty there late. The Cats pull off another win, 93-85 over the rival Cardinals. Auburn just took Ohio State, and just it was not even fair at times. Another dominant win for Auburn. Texas A&M beat Purdue basically in a road game in Indianapolis.
Feels like yesterday.
Every time we try to doubt the SEC, we try not to be biased here, folks, but every time we try to do it, it's like the SEC just says, we're just going to keep doing our thing. An unprecedented start, Max. Unbelievable. I don't even know. We're going to talk all about it, but another great day so far for the SEC.
We have every single fan base in the comments right now. What an incredible day. I texted Blake last night, and I said, I got a gut feeling we're in for a disaster. Well, I couldn't have been farther off because what an incredible day. My apartment door is still locked from last night. I haven't moved in the whole entire day.
Folks.
It's what a day. We got Mississippi State pulling away here from McNeese, up by 6 with 2 minutes left. Hopefully they close that one out and put a cap on that one. I don't even know where to start, Blake.
Well, it's like, where do you begin here? And you guys jump on in, as always. Leave your super chats. If you want to make sure we get to your comment, you can leave a super chat to do that. It just means more members. We'll also make sure we get to your comments as well. But now that we get to this thing, I'm like, do we start with the number one team in our power rankings, Max? Or we start with the number one team in the country, the Tennessee Vols? Do we start with Kentucky? We probably got a lot more Kentucky fans in here than anybody else. Here's what we're going to do, okay? We're going to start from the late game to the early game, all right? We're going to start with Tennessee because that was just a thrilling buzzer beater win for the Vols, as we said. Jordan Gainey pulls out some magic at the buzzer. What an end sequence there where you had, the missed free throw, Ziegler fouls out, and then Illinois misses a free throw. Tennessee takes it the distance. Gainey with the layup for the win. Max, thoughts? Well, again, where do you start with this game for the Vols?
I don't know how they won that game, given those circumstances. Akpara with, 3 fouls in like the first 4 minutes, 2 fouls the first 4 minutes. He's out the whole first half. Then you've got everybody, the whole starting lineup in foul trouble. Literally, go look at this starting lineup, the entire starting lineup.
Quickly, too, real quick, just because I saw this comment, I didn't even mention Florida earlier, too. We'll get to the Gators, too. Don't worry. So, my goodness. All right, continue.
Milicic, although he didn't hit some of those big time threes down the stretch, the rebounding was ridiculous. Meshack, they weren't guarding him at all. You could tell his offensive confidence was kind of down a little bit, but it didn't shake him at all. Still comes up with huge plays down the stretch. Our guy, Blake, Cade Phillips, with some big physical plays. Oh my gosh. The amount of shots that Illinois hit too, that Yakachonis is incredible. There were multiple times where I was like, oh, there's the shot. Yeah, there it is. Yep. Crowd's back. And then just Gainey would come down and hit one, or they'd get fouled and get to the line and chip away. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's like, and the thing is, like, if you watch the whole game, you can look at things like, all right, Dubar had 5 points, right? But he hit a 3 at a crucial moment where you're starting to think maybe Illinois is about to pull away. But then Tennessee, I think, went on a 6-0 run, something like that, where he hits a 3. They come back and hit another one. I don't remember the exact sequence, but all of a sudden it's tied again. And again, that's what Tennessee's done time and time again. The first time they've been in this kind of scenario like this, because they kept putting on the screen, it was how many minutes they were trailing all year versus how much they were trailing in this game, which was like 20 plus minutes or whatever it wound up being. But I think you look at it from that standpoint, and yeah, again, like Dubar scores 5, but a huge 5 points, especially that 3, as we said. And then it's like you look up and down the line, what was it? Milicic did not have his best offensive game by any means, right? But those 10 rebounds in the first half, and then he winds up with 14. I think he had 10 in the first half, right? Something like that. But
Something like that.
So it's just like those are the things with this team, and that's what we keep saying. It's like statistically, you can look at this and be like, how on earth did they win this game? Mm-hmm. But it's just, they just kind of continue to do what they do, and we talked about the defensive aspect of this. Sure, Tennessee had a bad offensive game, but when I say, Max, I'm like, defense travels. That Tennessee shoots 25% from three. They missed 8 free throws. They shot 32% from the field. But Illinois shoots 29% from the field, 17% from three, and they turned it over 11 times. Tennessee only turned it over 6 times. So we can say all we want about these stretches offensively, which they did have here, but they still found a way to win the game. And so what else do you say? I think that's still a pretty good Illinois team. I know people will be like, all right, they got 3 losses now, whatever, but I still think that's a pretty good team. So,
oh yeah,
my goodness, what a finish, what a game, and what a performance I thought for the Vols, and what was not pretty the whole time. But you know what? No one cares. They won on the road at the buzzer. They beat a really good team, so they're still undefeated, 10-0.
Now it's like, when we're looking ahead now for Tennessee, is there any time when we can say like, oh man, this matchup scares me? They basically had no Okpara. They're on the road at one of the best environments in the sport right now. That place was rocking against a super tall team, one of the tallest teams in the country, who can shoot. You have no Lanier. You have no Ziegler for stretches. What situation now can this Tennessee team be put in where we're like, oh, yeah, they're probably done now? I can't come up with one off the top of my head. And you nailed it, Blake. You absolutely nailed the preview, saying how one angle might be Illinois' youth compared to Tennessee's seniority, and you saw that in that second half there.
Meshack had some big defensive plays late. Again, there were sequences like that where you're thinking, these are guys who have been here before. They know what you have to do to win these kind of games. And even though it was dicey there towards the end, they found a way. And that's when I'm like, you can't penalize them for that. Sure, they didn't play their best game. If they shot that percentage against maybe a few SEC teams, they would have gotten beat. There's no question. They would have lost probably at Auburn. They would have lost to Kentucky. They would have lost at Florida. But the defense is still the thing that maybe would have given them a chance to win all those games, even as good as those teams have been. And so that's what stood out here again for Tennessee. It was a very physical game. I thought we were looking at a 3.5-hour game there at one point. Illinois shot 36 free throws. Tennessee shot 28. It was a long first half.
It was rough. Yeah.
It was very physical. And I think that is, definitely what stands out with all that. So, all right, shout out real quickly here to Mitch, who joined the It Just Means More tier. He is now a member here on YouTube, and Mitch and everyone else will be getting some members-only content again coming up next week. We already have multiple videos for members this week, so you guys can check that out. A lot of fun stuff. We did our monthly awards for SEC basketball. Defensively, Max, our awards went to Zakai Ziegler and Jemiah Meshack. And what do you know? Those two guys stepped up big here for the Vols to stay unbeaten. So we appreciate Mitch joining the tier as well. And, Lloyd, I don't think you're the only one who is saying that. The referees were not seemingly that well-liked on either side in that game. So,
quick update, Blake. Mississippi State is final. Hail State comes out with the victory. And literally just in front of my eyes, Asa Newell up by now 5 with the and 1, the dagger. Looks like Georgia's going to come away with the win.
I was going to say, I was about to bring that up, that Georgia was getting a little close for comfort there in the Grand Canyon game. But we'll talk about Mississippi State in a few minutes, because that was a game that I was a little bit, when I saw the line on that, and I was like, oh, yeah. I think we should be concerned. But we'll talk about the Bulldogs in a second. Anything else you want to talk about? And look, guys, we'll get back to these games in your comments and all that. But remember, what we like to do is we like to quickly just sort of run through everything, and then we'll get back to your comments and everything. So keep chatting. If you want to leave a super chat, we'll jump in and grab that right away. But again, we appreciate you guys. And there is Reese jumping in, Max. We knew that would happen. $5 super chat.
Yep.
The number one team in the country should always go first. So Reese says that was the way it worked. We got power rankings to figure out this again this week. Are we gonna have a swap at the top? Well, we'll find out. All right, next we're gonna go to Kentucky, because they were the second most recent game, and then we'll get to Auburn, who have just been lounging since their 873-point win earlier against Ohio State. But the Cats, 93-85 win over Louisville. And the first time, as we said, first go-around for Mark Pope and Pat Kelsey in this series. And you know what, Max? Coming into this game, the talk was about something in particular. Now, Mark Pope may not be happy with the number of threes they took in this game, but he's going to be just fine with a 52%
52
3-point shooting, and he's really going to be fine with our guy, Lamont Butler, 10 of 10 from the floor, 6 of 6 from 3. If the man didn't miss 5 free throws, it might have been the highest efficiency rating we've seen for an SEC player in a while. I half kid on that, but Butler goes for 33 in this game. That'll make you a legend in Lexington, won't it, Kentucky fans, against Louisville? If you have this kind of performance, unbelievable job by him. Overall, again, this was kind of one where, we knew that Louisville was going to give them some issues because of the volume of 3 points, 3-point shots, right? And that's what we said. They were, I don't remember the number, but they were ranked, top 5, 10, something like that in the country.
They're way up there.
Yeah, we brought it up in the preview. I don't remember the exact number, but they shoot 39 threes here. They make 14 of them. And so you just knew that's the kind of team that's going to be hard to put away unless you're just perfect defensively. And so Lamont Butler steps up. What a game from him. But also, we look at that from a scoring standpoint, but you also had that trio of guys who were big and getting boards. What was it, 9, 8, 8, I think, between Carr, Williams, and Robinson. So
Texan on the boards.
Listen, I know Louisville's 6-5, but I thought this was a really, really nice win for Kentucky in terms of how the game played out, knowing some of the challenges they were going to present, and still being able to get these kind of performances, especially from a Lamont Butler. And the return, we didn't even know if the guy was going to play, Max.
I know.
And he comes in and scores 33 and doesn't miss a shot. My goodness. Incredible.
Can you tell he was just itching to get on the floor? We got Austin in here with some Cats history. So Lamont made history on two fronts. First, he made the most threes against Louisville for any Kentucky player, and he also tied for the third most field goals without a miss in Kentucky history. Wow. Third most field goals without a miss in Kentucky history. Think of all the offensive juggernauts that have come through Kentucky, and Lamont Butler is sitting up there tied for third. Unbelievable. And they heard me. I was harping on the threes minus Kobe Bryant. We're not shooting a good percentage. And they flipped it on me. Kobe Bryant has one of his not his best night. I mean, 2 for 7, by Kobe Bryant's standards, that's not his best night. And then everybody else has a great night. Of course, right on cue. But 14 threes from Louisville, I mean, if you're taking 43s, I hope you're getting close to that number. Chucky Hepburn has got to be one of the most underrated players in the country. I mean, holy smokes.
You called it on him. Yeah.
He's incredible. He is so good. And he was playing hurt. I don't know what exactly was wrong with that. It was right or left shoulder he kept touching at. Yeah, it was from the jump. He was nursing that shoulder, but incredible. You got to fight through 5 Edwards threes. 5 Edward. Come on. Both teams, making shots. It was a great game. 93-85. One of the more entertaining games we've had, Blake. A lot of times we've been hyping up these offensive games where we're like, hey, it could be a good one. And then they shoot 78 free throws. This was one that played out pretty well.
Well, and I think, too, it was one of those where this was the kind of game based on the style where, Louisville led the first minute, and then that was it, right? Kentucky was able to kind of fight them off. Was that kind of how – I'm trying to think of the exact –
They got it down to 3, I believe, with remember it was 59-62? It was 59-62.
Yeah, I was going to say, but they just kept sort of fighting them off. And I felt like that was the thing where you knew, again, like we said, the volume of threes and just the offense, that Louisville was going to keep having opportunities, but Kentucky just kept finding ways to fight them off. And most of the time it came with offense, was just being able to come back and make another bucket. And so, I think that certainly says a lot about, like we said, these were tough matchups. All these teams we talked about for the SEC today. This was, and you said it earlier, it's why we came into the day being like, uh-oh.
Yep.
we were just waiting. We're like, surely it just can't keep going like this, right? At some point, teams have to lose some of these games that surprise you a little bit. But again, like think about, we just talked about it. Tennessee on the road at Illinois. They found a way to win that game. This is a game where, Louisville was going to shoot a lot of threes. They make 14 of them. Kentucky still holds them off with a legacy game here from Lamont Butler. They win the game at home by 8. In the rivalry matchup, you'll take that. And so, and we'll talk about the other games in a minute, but it's just like, that is what continues to stand out to me about these teams is there are times where some of these teams are like 40 minutes, they're invincible. One of those teams we're about to talk about in a second. But, even if you have some of these stretches where like, okay, only won by 8, great. Remember when we talked about the Colgate game? It's like, burn the tape on that one. You don't want to go back and watch that one again. But you just keep winning. You just keep finding ways to win. And this was another one where like this was a different way. Having Lamont Butler play like this, have this kind of game. And remember, they're doing this without Kirk Risa. Like the depth, you're missing a depth piece there, and you didn't know if Butler was going to play. And it all sets up, in Kentucky's favor here to win another big game ahead of yet another big game coming up next Saturday against Ohio State, who will be looking to play a bit better than they did against another SEC team we'll talk about shortly. But
yeah, and I was gonna thank you for mentioning Kriisa. I was also gonna touch. I was gonna touch on the injuries for Louisville. No Pryor, obviously. No Johnson. No Traore. So they only went 7 deep, and Roos they didn't even really play, so it was really only 6. But you didn't really get much from Amari Williams. Only 16 minutes. But how about Brandon Garrison? It's like each game, it's just like one of those two has a good game. And how about that little scuffle there near the
you get a little feisty.
Yeah, I like it. Hey, I was waiting for it. It's Louisville, Kentucky. We're gonna have that kind of stuff. I really like the state of this rivalry moving forward with Kelsey against Pope. It's renewed. It's back. It's back. Past few years has not lived up.
Yeah, and it's gonna keep being that way. I think because I think Pat Kelsey, personality-wise, like you're gonna get back and forth with him and Pope maybe a little bit, but Mark Pope just like we're gonna go out and we're just gonna have our guy who was injured and maybe not playing. We're just gonna have him go score 33. No big deal.
Yep.
That's our game plan. Shout out here, JT. By the way, so soon on air. Well, it kind of worked out for us the way the schedule was today. Most Saturdays in non-conference play, it's like things just bounce all over the place. But it actually worked out well to where the SEC's only got a couple games now in progress the rest of the night. So we're like, let's go ahead and do this after the Tennessee game. So, it worked out great to talk about all these games. But as Max noted in the private chat, I forgot to talk about something else, Max. I was so excited about the SEC's play today that I forgot to mention something else. Do you guys know what that is? Let's see if we get any predictions in the comments on what I've yet to mention on this here live show 18 minutes in. There's something I forgot to talk about because there were some things today that if you looked at the betting lines, Max, which I know you did, you're someone who looks at these betting lines. You may have looked at this and said, here it comes in, all the chats coming in.
There we go.
Ad read. There
we go.
And coming on through. Prentice here. BetOnline. You're right about that. BetOnline. Our friends, the Ultimate Swan loves BetOnline. Just loves it. And so your friends and mine, BetOnline. I think that's the tagline I use for someone else, but we're going to use it for everybody now. BetOnline continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform, your number one source for online betting. If you did a parlay, let's say, and you set the lines, Kentucky, what was the Kentucky line wind up being, Max? At 9.5, something like that?
Something out there near 10.
So you didn't quite get that. But if you did a special, pick your own spread, and you did Kentucky -7, you would have cashed. If you did Tennessee, what the line ended up being on Tennessee, Max?
Didn't it close +1.5 Illinois? So Tennessee -1.5, I believe.
Then you got your money's worth on the Vols. If you set your own line for Auburn against Ohio State and you decided to make that line Auburn -35, you still would have cashed and you would have done it with our friends at BetOnline because they do have the earliest odds, plus in-game live betting. BetOnline provides you with all the action, ability to watch the games as they happen. Largest selection of odds on everything from football, the NBA, college basketball, NHL, UFC. It's all there. Head to BetOnline today. And don't forget, use that promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV. It helps us out here, folks. Use that promo code if you go there for your welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline. The game starts here. All right, Max, anything in the chat I've been missing as I'm doing this enthusiastic ad read?
I have also been missing it because I was just watching Oklahoma go up by 6 against Oklahoma State early.
Look, this SC Scout guy. Every time we do this, SC Scout guy, you did this in the football chat a couple weeks ago. You said that you thought Chris was in jail. You were trying to figure out where Chris was. You were leaving all these mysterious messages. Chris is fine. He's just taking the night off, okay? Spending some time with the family. Chris is okay. He's okay, everyone. But I'll tell you what else is okay. Kentucky fans, Tennessee fans, they're okay right now because they just got – and look, chill mode right here. Never seen the SEC be this dominant in basketball. Max, what's that tweet you sent me earlier? Pull that up.
Yeah. Literally was just looking for that. Well, it's more now. It's inaccurate now because we got even more.
Pull that up.
It's in my bookmarks. I always bookmark some stuff for later. Oh, I bookmarked the did you see the Will Richards slam that went back in the hoop again?
Oh,
that was funny.
What was the stat?
I don't have it, but it was like the SEC, it was like they broke the record for the most ranked wins in the non-conference. The
like
Texas A&M, yeah, it was something like that.
Top 25 or something, yeah.
The A&M win was made at 4. The A&M win made it 4. So it's, I don't know what it is now, but.
Yeah. Anyways, all right, we'll get back to Kentucky, Tennessee, and we're going to talk about the SEC as a whole once we get through these games. So I know you guys are hanging in there. Trust me, this probably won't be a short stream. We're going to keep going for a little while. We get 800 plus in there on a Saturday night. We got lots of SEC basketball to get to. So, Reese, he's bookmarking your tweets, my man. Guaranteed. Max is bookmarking your tweets all the time. So, all right, let's talk about the Auburn Tigers. We're going to go, as we said, we're backtracking here. Okay. But, oh my goodness. So I know we talked about in the preview, and anytime we do these previews, we do it for the games where we're like, okay, these are going to be interesting games, right? Yeah. And we tried to give you every scenario we could as to why Ohio State could be an interesting matchup for Auburn. But at the end of the day, we spent, 10 to 15 minutes talking about that game, when in reality, we could have just cut it down to like one little tiny, 5-second clip.
Yep.
Auburn has Jani Broome. Ohio State doesn't. And, it was more than that. But, my goodness, if you missed it, Auburn 91, Ohio State 53. Think about that for a second. Like, Ohio State has a win over Texas. They lost in overtime to Pitt. They did lose at Texas A&M by 14. I can say they're not a bad team, but my goodness, Auburn made them look silly at times. 21 points, 20 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 blocks, and a steal. In 26 minutes, Max, for the best player in college basketball right now, Jani Broome.
He had that. He had the 2020 with like 7 minutes into the second half. I mean, he wasn't even playing. It was he had like 24 some. He had like low 20s minutes played, and he had 20 points, 20 rebounds against Ohio State. I mean, that was like the main key of the preview that we did, was that no Bradshaw, front court is thin for Ohio State, but we were mentioning the Ohio State guards, the 3-point shooting. It was never even. Yeah. I mean,
Donovan brings it up here. What was the official time? I'll look that up. But I
remember it. I don't know the number.
It was 5 something. I don't remember the exact, but I'll find it. But yeah, it's just remarkable what they did. By the way, shout out to Tony. Tony was jumping in. Remember during the SEC tournament. Tony's back. Yeah, Tony, you're Tigers. My goodness. But yeah, we could have crafted like so many different scenarios with this game. Even as good as Auburn's been, I don't think we would have played it out this way to where Auburn was going to be up, 44 points in this game?
Ridiculous. Auburn, they had 13 blocks defensively. 13. What? And then offensively, they had 18 assists and only 5 turnovers. Shot 43% from 3. Are you kidding me? Most times, unless Dylan Cardwell's on the floor. When Dylan Cardwell's on the floor, he's the only one. But most times, all 5 can shoot a 3 also. The offense, I think the offense is probably even better than the defense, as good as the defense is. 13 blocks is ridiculous, but This offense is impossible to stop.
You remember what we talked about coming in? I had pointed out the percentages for the Ohio State guards from three.
Yes, they were all amazing, right?
They were all shooting just ridiculous numbers.
Yeah.
6 of 16 in this game for 38%, which is, I guess, not bad, but only made 6 of them, right? Shot 34% from 2. I missed 8 free throws, only shot 58% from the free throw line. But that was it. I mean, we said, like, the defensive aspect of Auburn, we talked about, like, those numbers being a little bit deceiving, where, I mean, what were they?
Yeah.
I think going into this game, they were ranked, like, 26th, 22nd, I don't remember, 25th, 26th, something like that.
They're, like, mid-20s.
Yeah, in defensive efficiency or whatever on KenPom. And now they're up to 14 after that performance. So, yeah, it's one of those things where I think they are just a machine, and we knew, like, just like last year, they'd be great and potentially elite on both sides of the floor. But you said it. I mean, it's the offensive numbers right now are just, they are on another level. And remember, look at the schedule they played. Like, that's what we keep talking about. Like, look at who they're doing this against. They're not just doing this against random mid-major teams, right? I mean, and they still get to play Purdue, like, next Saturday. We talked about that game a minute ago, Kentucky, Ohio State. Auburn's going to play Purdue. And so still another big game out there. But to this point, man, it is just impossible. I don't know. So
Auburn has the number one defense.
Juggernaut.
They got the number one defense in the nation. They've played Houston, who has the third defense. They've played Duke, who has the second defense. And then they've played Iowa State, who has the 10th defense. They've played 3 national top 10 defenses, and they still have the number one offense by far. It's not even close.
Yeah. That is true. Great point. So, oh boy. Yeah. I mean, I think that's where we're at.
And then also I wanted to do this. I wanted to do this to show you how good Johni Broome has been. Okay? I'm going to share my screen real quick. Okay. All right. So these are game MVP leaders, okay? KenPom does a game MVP for every game. So Broome's right up there with Harper, Dixon, some good guys. Here's the KenPom Player of the Years, okay? There's 10 of them, okay? And this is the rating they get on the right, okay? Lanier's just squeaked in there. He's at 1.1. You got Gilbert for Iowa State. These guys are all at 1.1. You got Queen from Maryland, Dixon at 1.2. You've got Ike at 1.2, Haggerty at 1.2. So still, we're up to the top 5. No one above 1.2. You got Hunter Dickinson at 1.4. Very good. Now you're starting to get up there. Cam Jones having an incredible year, 1.6. Oh, a big jump up from 1.6 to almost 1.9 with Cooper Flagg. Okay. And then there's Johni Broome at basically 2.7. I mean, in an absolute league of his own. I mean, I've never seen something like this. He's running away with it. It's ridiculous.
Well, and just for everyone, again, if you are jumping in, and let's say you're new to the channel or are just jumping in and saying, man, why are these guys getting so much about Auburn? Well, I don't know. If you look at the actual numbers here, I saw this as well on Twitter, Max.
What's that?
So there's another, and if you can find it in the chat, I don't have it pulled up right now, but so Donovan was talking about being the highest ranked offense or whatever in KenPom history or something right now in terms of the number. I could be wrong about that, but that's just what I've seen. But if you look at the difference between Auburn, who is number 1 in these ratings, and then look at Tennessee, who's number 2, which makes a lot of sense, right? There is a huge gap in terms of the number. It's like, I think it's 4.07 or something like that, which is bigger than the gap between, like, I saw it as like the number 7 and number 45 team or something like that. So it's just, that's the kind of thing. Like, when you look at those, it's just, it's weird. Like, it's weird how incredible, like, the numbers are suggesting this team is, but we've seen it with our eyes too. So, and you kind of look at it that way. So, they've just been dominant to this point. So,
and as much as we give our shine to Tahad Pettiford, and he deserves it, Denver Jones has been phenomenal. I mean, Denver Jones has just been money in the bank, and he had another great game. So he's a big reason why, and we don't give him a shine that much.
Yeah, agreed. I don't know what else to say about this game. It was just a complete blowout against a team that Where was Ohio State coming into this game in Ken Palm Max? They were like they were 20. I don't know, 20 something. They dropped to 37. They were 28th. They were 28th.
Okay.
And so and then that. See, they're talking about a problem. Yeah, they don't seem to play well away from home, except for that game against Texas to start the season. We said it. They lost. Ohio State lost by 14 at A&M. Lost by 24 at Maryland, and then just got throttled by Auburn.
Well, we're starting to find out Ohio State doesn't like playing big men. Derek Queen crushed them.
Well, they get Kentucky next Saturday on a neutral court too, so that's trending in Kentucky's direction. Madison Square Garden there for that game. So, yeah. For sure.
I remember watching the game. One more thing on Auburn. I remember watching it, and I remember thinking it was right when Miles Kelly got his third foul, and then Baker Mazzara, I think, had like maybe 2, 3, maybe even 4 like straight possessions of being just like ultra aggressive offensively. And I was just like, geez, it doesn't matter who's in foul trouble, who's on the floor. They always have at least one guy down low and at least one guy on the perimeter that can absolutely just 5 seconds left go get you one. Always.
Yeah. Yep. No doubt. All right. Let's see what else we've got here. By the way, hold on. There was a couple of things here I wanted to grab, and I missed it in the comment. Is it 140 and 20 now? Is that right? Is that the number? I was going to update that, but I think you're right. I think it's 140 and 20. So we still got 2 games in progress tonight, Oklahoma and Alabama. So we'll see if they can add to it. But yes, it's been an unprecedented start for the SEC, folks. That's why when we try to figure out who do we talk about next, it's because pretty much all the games this year have been a positive slant for SEC basketball. And I keep saying this too, it is something where, and I get it, like, fandom is fandom, but if you're someone that has a favorite team in the SEC, I know you're not going to like root for your rival, Max. Like, I get that.
Right.
It's the SEC. But you should probably also be okay with the idea that if these other teams are really good, it's only going to help your seeding once you get to March. And I think that's what we're seeing right now with the SEC in terms of the metrics, is that as this continues to go along here, we are getting closer to that period where we talked about, looking at one of the SEC schedules, and it was like, 16 quad 1 win opportunities, 2 quad 2. So, like, you're about to get into that point where if these teams keep losing, or these teams keep winning, then you're going to just keep adding those quad 1 opportunities to where, look, it's inevitable. Teams are going to lose games in SEC play. But if you just look at it from that standpoint, like, everybody's seeding is going to take a huge jump up to maybe what it been in years past just because of how strong the league's going to be. So it's going to make for a lot of great games. But it's also going to make for a scenario where you're going to lose some teams or you're going to lose some games and not going to matter all that much because of the work everyone's done so early. So, But, all right. So I'm going to try to clean up the comments here a little bit. We had some start on the back end here. Shout out to Mitch, as we said earlier. Join the It Just Means More tier. You can too, folks. If you want to join it, we got a lot of members-only content coming this week as well. So we appreciate you doing that. Leave a super chat if you want to make sure we get to your chat in the stream. Here we go. Antonio. When are you going to talk about my Gators? The best team in the SEC. Coming out hot here, Antonio. And we kept saying, Max, and Rothstein tweeted earlier, the most underappreciated team in college basketball, I think is what he said. And we said, like, initially we were having that conversation. How do you rank Auburn, Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, right? That was several weeks ago. We kept kind of having that group. We're like, how do you rank these teams? But then we started to realize, how on earth is Florida not in there? And I know everyone's going to say the same thing, right? They're going to say, well, look at Florida, their schedule compared to the other teams. But Florida's now jumped up to 7th in Ken Palm. They're 10-0, have just dominated everyone on their schedule, essentially. They've won every game by, 13 or more points this season. Now, I know, though, the numbers are not going to be what they are in terms of, seeing the non-conference schedule rankings and all that. Correct, Max? Like, it's just not, it's not there. And even when they play North Carolina on Tuesday, if they win that game, it's going to jump up a little bit, but it's still not going to be what some of these others have been, because after that, it's North Florida and Stetson. Nothing against North Florida. We know they've won some, nice games, but it's not going to boost it up that much. But if you just use the eye test here for the Gators, they are a machine right now, and they are playing about as confident as any team out there, just with all these other teams that we talked about already. And what another impressive win. That's an Arizona State team we talked about that had picked up some, nice performances this season, had an 8-point loss at the Zags, beat St. Mary's a couple weeks ago, I think it was, and they had been playing some good basketball. But Florida does it again, Max, 10-0 on the season. Walter Clayton leading the way, no surprise there, 25 points in this game. I mean, they just keep doing their thing. So,
yeah, I know everyone. The knock on them compared to the rest of the SEC obviously is that strength of schedule, but they have done everything that they have needed to do with this schedule. I mean, they've just destroyed, and so you can't knock them. The guard trio, I tweeted it earlier. Their stat line, it was like a few minutes left in the second half when I tweeted it, but that guard trio, is there a better guard trio in the SEC? Trio, like starting, 25 plus minute a game trio. I mean, they are just rock solid. All of them are snipers. The Elijah Martin defense, our guy Neil, Florida Basketball Hour, he was trying to tell us back in June, was trying to tell us Elijah Martin's defense is going to be huge. And he's even better than I thought he was. He holds, I'm going to butcher the last name, Sanan, the Arizona State freshman that's been incredible. Holds him to basically nothing. And then you kind of have a Texas A&M style front court with the rotating four, the nonstop rebounding. It doesn't matter who's in foul trouble. You got 4 of them. Team's a machine, Blake. Just like you said, machine's the right word.
Yeah, I mean, they're just, and I think you're like the chemistry too between these guys. And we said like that was going to be important because you did have Clayton coming back. You had Richard coming back, right? You had Condon coming back, Aberdeen, like Tommy Hawk, our guy. Like you had all these guys coming back in the system. But now you've added, Elijah Martin, who goes for 15, 11, and 6 in this game, right? Guy who's just been doing everything. And we talk about and Florida was up. What was it? They wound up winning this game by 17, but they were up 30, weren't they, at one point, like late in the game?
They were crushing them.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even, scoreline a little deceiving there. But I think when you just look at, again, we knew coming into the season, how do they replace Tyrese Samuel, right? How do they replace Zion Pullen? Han Logden's out for the year after the injury at the SEC tournament. But we've said, like that front court rotation, they've just continued to work guys in and out here. They're kind of splitting a lot of those minutes. Condon kind of leading the way as we expected. But you're getting good minutes out of everybody. And then just this group of guards, as you said a minute ago, I mean, they're all old. They've all played in a lot of meaningful games. And those are the kind of guys that are going to win you games in March. And so right now, it's not just winning games in March. They're winning every game they played. So big game coming up against North Carolina. And that's one, too, where, think about if they win that game, right? And now they're sitting there at 11-0. That game is, where are they playing that at? That's at the Spectrum, in Charlotte.
Hey.
And so, that one's in Charlotte on Tuesday. So, come on. Are you on the call for that one?
I'll go.
You on the call?
I'll go.
Go see the Gators. If they win that game, right? And then we're looking at, okay, North Florida at home, Stetson at home. And then we said Florida's got such a great start to SEC play. No one with a better first 3-game stretch maybe. At Kentucky, home against Tennessee. 2 huge rivalry-type games right off the bat for the Gators, who, again, just keep doing what they're doing right now. And North Carolina statistically would be their best win if they get that on Tuesday. But still, I know we compare schedules, but it's a good problem to have in the SEC this year because you're comparing so many good teams. And it really is about, as we said, who have you beaten, who have you not beaten. It's not really about the losses because you're just looking at these teams. You're like, there's not a lot to go on because there's not that many of them. And so, good problem to have for the Gators and everybody else. So, quickly, here we go, Max. Are you ready?
Oh,
are you ready for this one? You ready for me to explain this? It's from the chat here. Blueberry J wants to know, how do I join the It Just Means More tier? It doesn't give you the option on the iPhone. All right. So, here's what we're going to do. So this is kind of a running joke we have in every live stream is we try to figure this out. But the best thing I can tell you to do is go to jump out of this video, go to the main page, Southeastern 16, go to the home page where it shows all the videos, folks. And then as you're scrolling down, it'll give you the option you'll see like the members section and all that. You can also, Blueberry J, if you just click on a members only video, it will immediately give you the option to do that. Yes, as Tom says here, go to the homepage. As Sam says, yes, I am a moron. I get it, Sam. You know I try to do this. all the time. But and so yes, but that's kind of where we are here. So go to the homepage, click on any of the video members only videos, and it'll give you the option right away. So do that. We appreciate you supporting the channel. Yes, and we do have members only live streams and videos coming. The watch alongs are coming, folks. It's almost that time. You get to watch some of the big games with us. We're gonna have some fun with that. So that'll be a lot of fun with you guys. So there you go. All right, and shout out to you as well. Hold on, where did I go? We just had the super chat. Why can't I find it? $1.99. Blueberry J. Thank you for the amazing content. Love y'all. Love you too, Blueberry J. You're a great person. So, Tom, yes, we did talk about Lamont Butler earlier. We'll get back to Kentucky and everything else in a minute. But we got to let Max talk about the Aggies real quick. The Texas A&M Aggies. Oh, we forgot about that. Oh, yeah, they got a win too today, a big win, beating Purdue. And so, yes, the SC Scout guy. Why is Max not explaining how to join? He's the young guy of the group. Ad read's coming, Sam. Don't worry. We got another ad to get to in a minute. But the Aggies, Max, get another sort of impressive win. And I think I told you this week on the Power Ratings, I'm like, I was playing at Mississippi State. I know. But I think I undersold the Aggies here because when you now look at the body of work they put together, 4-point win over Purdue, 5-point win over Texas Tech. They got that 4-point win over Rutgers, 4-point win over Creighton. We mentioned earlier they beat Ohio State by 14. They lost that first game of the season against UCF. But since then, only that Oregon game. Other than that, I mean, it's been sloppy like that Wake Forest game at times. But this, you can tell me if you think I think this was their best win of the season just because of the location, the way it kind of played out, all that. So best win of the season for the Aggies so far.
Yeah. This was as good as a win you're going to see from A&M. I mean, what was it? 10 guys, all double-digit minutes. I mean, that's a full roster game right there. You make 9 threes, 40%. You're not going to always get that with the Aggies here. So you love to knock a few threes down. I'll tell you what, you're going to get the normal A&M stuff, right? The offensive rebounds, there you go. That's the $5 you didn't have to start today. Yeah. You're going to get your rebounds. You're going to have your negative assist to turnover ratio, and they're going to be really tough to score on. Those are your consistents. If A&M makes their threes, okay, if they make their threes, they're dangerous. They are dangerous because that's a big plus. All right, that's not always happening. Zurich Phelps has elevated this defense to new heights. Okay, he's phenomenal defensively. Offensively, we're work in progress. Yeah, who are these guys? I'm not sure. I am not sure. But they had a good night from the outside. The defense is incredible. The rebounding is same as last year, number 1 in the nation. I don't think Purdue is as good as their people think they are right now. But I mean, they were up by Texas A&M was up by 12 with 4 minutes left. I mean, they were playing good.
See, and this is where I keep going back to this. We talked about the Ohio State thing earlier. Obviously, that's a bit extreme because of just how dominant that was. But I feel like because of what the SEC has done so far and what the SEC keeps winning all these games, that people are kind of using it to say, well, these other teams just aren't as good. They may not be as good as the SEC teams, but, like, they're still decent teams, you know? Yeah. And you know what I mean? It's like, yes, they're adding more L's, which is not good for, the resume, but I think that's something too where I'm like, I don't think Purdue's, like you said, maybe right now,
maybe.
But I still think by the end of the year, like Purdue's going to be okay. And so it is interesting though. Like you look again at A&M winning a game like this, and we talked about what's the phrase we use? Everybody says A&M's inconsistent, but they're consistent at being inconsistent, right? Yes. And so that's the methodology we use here to try to approach the Aggies game in and game out, but. I mean, at this point, though, they just keep finding ways to win all these games. I mentioned the score lines earlier, like 4-point win, 4-point win, 5-point win, 4-point win. They're old, and that's what we keep talking about with some of these teams. Like they're older, they're starting senior, all these teams we mentioned, they've got so many old guys that are playing just a huge role. And I think that was the thing, Max, coming into the season with A&M and why you could be high on them was because they were bringing so much of that nucleus back that finished the season on a great run last year. And again, like you look at it now from this standpoint, they're more than likely going to be 11-2 going into conference play. Remember, they open against Texas, guys. That's a nice one to have on the schedule to start things off on January the 4th. Houston Christian, Abilene Christian, there are only 2 games left. They play those over the next 2 weeks. So that was it was so huge because you wanted to see them win a game like that away from home. They've already won some close ones in these kind of atmospheres, but that's an Indianapolis game, right? Like that's not just a playing in New Mexico or somewhere. Like that's an Indianapolis game, and they found a way to win it. A lot of Purdue fans there, so credit to the Aggies. I thought just another tremendous win for them. So
they beat Creighton on a neutral, they beat Rutgers on a neutral, they beat Texas Tech on a neutral, and they beat Purdue on a semi away. None of these wins are at home. They're doing this all away from home, which Texas A&M years in the past they don't do that. So big wins.
Big win. Yep. So the Aggies sitting in a good spot. Their resume going to take a nice bump. I don't know where they went in KenPom. They're up to 19. I don't remember where they were before. Actually, it'll tell me, won't it?
Quick update on the bold prediction from the summer that this would be Buzz's best team ever. They're not that far away. The Jimmy Butler team was 19. The Jay Crowder Vanderblue team was 18. And then that last year at Virginia Tech with Alexander Walker was 13. So we're not there yet, but this is right up there in the group.
Yep, for sure. All right, here's what we're going to do quickly. We're going to go rapid fire, Max, on everything else, and then we're going to get to some comments. So if you want to get your comments rolling in, super chats, all that, do it, folks. Now's the time. We're going to start jumping into those here, but let's go rapid fire. Are you ready, Max Barr?
What do we got?
Mississippi State 66, McNeese 63.
We knew that was going to be tough going into it.
Yeah.
That spread opening up, was it a single digit open or did it open double and then close single?
I don't remember, but I think I saw it at 9 or 9.5, and I said that's not good for Mississippi State.
Oh no.
Yeah.
McNeese matched up real well with them with that small ball perimeter kind of chaos type of play. McNeese that was what they wanted to do. So I mean that was real testy for a while, but you got the guard play from Harris. Harris hit a huge shots in the first half. They were down by I don't know how much they were down in the first half, but there was a time when Claudel Harris, I think, had back-to-back threes in a series of possessions that, just kind of got them right back into the game, and then they were able to continue from there. But that's the thing with Mississippi State. Hubbard had 0 points, 15, 16 minutes into the first half. And last year, that's a recipe for disaster. You tell us Hubbard has 3 points going into the halftime. Disaster. Not this year. They've got different guys.
And if you want to know about R.J. Melendez and the award he won for the first month of SEC play, you can find that. The members-only video, he was given an award for the first month of SEC play. It'll be worth your $3.99, folks. Your donation to the channel. Max Barr gave R.J. Melendez an award. So that's all you need to know. Yep, Mississippi State escapes against the Fighting Will Wades 66-63. Back-to-back, again, different opponents, but they won by 7, as we said, against Prairie View A&M. Made people raise their eyebrows a little bit, but they had just dominated Pittsburgh. I mean, they just took it to them. So still, a win's a win. You'll take it. McNeese, as we said, is probably one of the better mid-major teams out there.
They're up to 90 now.
They're 5-5, but again, they play, they've lost to Alabama, Liberty, Santa Clara. Those are kind of games you probably expect them to win, but I'm not surprised, as you said, that they would give a good performance here in SEC country via Will Wade. So Georgia, 73, Grand Canyon, 68, Max.
Yeah, Samto Cyril saw that he was replaced on the bully ball watch list by R.J. Godfrey and said, Max, you're an idiot. Get me back on that list. What a monster he is. Just the defense, just monstrous, this Georgia defense. If you're not ready to play physical, if you are not ready for a physical game, you better get ready, because that's what you're getting against Georgia. I mean, these guys are monsters, Blake.
Yeah, I keep liking this Georgia team more and more. I know this was a close game, but I still think there's something about this group that we'll see. I mean, again, SEC play is going to be a beast, but right now they're set in a really good position. They also have 3 more winnable games that they should win, probably by double digits. So they should be 12-1 going into SEC play. Interesting start for them. We talked about it. At Ole Miss, home against Kentucky, home against Oklahoma, at Tennessee, home against Auburn. Then they got back-to-back road games, Arkansas and Florida. On paper, I feel like Georgia has one of the tougher SEC schedules in the first half. So we'll learn a lot more about the Bulldogs then. But they've been really good to this point, and I think sneaky in terms of maybe not getting enough credit to this point. But all right, we speed on here, and Ole Miss 77, Southern Miss 46. Domination from the Rebels.
There was one thing I noticed on that game. It was halftime. Yes, it was halftime, and Ole Miss had only made 3 2-pointers. They had 38 points at half, I believe. It was high 30s, and they had only made 3 2-pointers. It was all threes and free throws. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. They're incredible on the perimeter. Incredible with the double point guard, Murray and Padula. It is so hard to stop. And the athletic bigs with Dia and Brown Jones. However, I'm starting to see a trend that they're not getting those back to the basket possessions, right? Where you can kind of just dump it down, slow it down. It's all perimeter. I am so nitpicking here, Blake. I mean, I'm trying to find the smallest of stuff. This perimeter is nasty. I think Padula had 6 threes. I mean, gee.
Yeah, Padula, as you mentioned coming in the season, and we talked about it. Like he was one of those guys that may not have been getting enough credit in terms of like the role he was going to play on this team, but you just knew. I mean, and you've seen it so far. Like what an important addition that was for what they needed. You know, a guy who could just go off at any time. Again, we've kind of just seen the role that he plays on this team. Sees the floor really well, and so yeah, I mean, he's been huge for the roster.
He made 28 threes.
Yeah, I mean, and so for the roster he built, they needed that guy kind of leading the way. And sure enough, he's been tremendous so far. So, yep, shout out to Sean Padula. A great start, without question. All right, Missouri, 88. Long Island, 61. Max, another win for the good guys in Columbia, Missouri.
I admittedly did not catch this game because there was a tornado of SEC games on it all day today. But I did do some box score looking, and you know, they played, I think it was like 10, 11 guys. Like, holy smokes. I mean, they just, Dennis Gates.
Josh Gray started, played 9 minutes. That's how it usually goes, right? Like
Dennis Gates was pulling people out of the stands. Suit up for this one. No, I mean, domination here. It was LIU.
Yeah, Missouri took care of business, we said, coming off a huge win. You wonder sometimes, like, let down spots and that kind of thing, but it worked out. Yeah. You know, that came six days after the Kansas win, so, you know, that not as big of a – let's say they played that game on Tuesday or something. Maybe, you know, you feel a little sluggish, perhaps.
Auburn's up 24-10 right now, 10 minutes into the game. Sorry, I just looked up for the first
time
in a while. Oh, did I say Auburn?
Mistake. Oh, boy.
Good Lord.
Oh, boy.
I'm scrambled right now. I got three screens going on.
Not going to sit well. So
Alabama's up by 14. Oklahoma's up by 12.
Yeah.
15. Elvis 3.
This is why we decided to go early, folks. We knew the result of these upcoming games. By the way, shout out to Silas Jr. Trust jumping in. The Dogs, 9-1.
Oh, you just missed the UGA. I was talking about Santo.
Yeah, hey, I know what are you doing in Silas? You got to join the It Just Means More tier. $3.99. You can come in and hang out on the members-only stuff we do. Talk more about the Dogs in there. We got some fun stuff coming up. So there, we appreciate you hopping in, as always. But all right, where are we at? Yeah, Missouri, just about what you would expect, Max, I think, in that game. So not a lot else to add. Another good win. Again, the team's streaking in the right direction now.
They're rolling.
And they get Illinois next Sunday. They play Jacksonville State before that. So Jacksonville State, they're 6-4. Not always an easy team. Ray Harper, good coach. Not always an easy team to play against. So
he's been there forever, hasn't he?
Keep an eye on that one. So, all right. What else? There was another team that I have skipped over in my ranking. South Carolina, 73. USC Upstate, 53.
Yeah, that one was like an uncomfortably kind of like 10-point lead. 5 to 10 point lead the whole game. Kind of, it was kind of weird. They were, it would just kind of teeter a little bit, and it would go from like 8, and then 3 minutes later it's like 10, then it's 12. They couldn't put together just like a runaway, you know, and it ended up as 20. But it was kind of a slow developing game. But that's kind of what Lamont Paris likes to run, kind of slow down the opposition. It was a Nick Pringle game, and they win by 20. It was kind of weird though. It was weird watching it. I never felt like it was 20, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, South Carolina has a chance for big movement on Tuesday because they play Clemson, and that's games in Columbia. And if they win that game, remember, they're still in the top 70 in KenPom, even as the bottom-rated team in the SEC. They're 68th, 7-3 on the season. But they're lacking that quality win to this point, and this would be it. Now, I know Clemson just came off the loss in overtime to Memphis today, but as we said, Clemson has built some good wins so far. They beat Kentucky, of course. Nice win over Penn State. So it would be huge for South Carolina if they can win this game at home, because that's really the last opportunity they have available before they start SEC play at Mississippi State, home against Alabama, home against Auburn. So the strength of schedule is going to pick up.
I wonder what the winter break
good question.
I wonder what that is with that game.
Not sure. Yeah. They need them because that would be, again, a great win for South Carolina.
Yeah.
So, all right, the only other game, or two other games, quickly. We'll go quickly because I know folks want us to get to an ad read. And don't worry, it's coming right after we finish up with these two games. And we're going to get to more of your questions, comments before we wrap up. Arkansas 82, Central Arkansas 57. Boogie Flan doing his thing.
Yeah, this was never close after like the first 2 minutes. Adu's back. We were talking the past few games, like, is he fully back? Is he healthy? Finally, last game saw some flashes. Adu's looking good. Adu's starting to look really good. And it's good to see him back because we know down the stretch of last year SEC play, I mean, there was a while, Blake, where Adu was in the top 5 players, individual players last year in the SEC for a while. I mean, he was putting up huge numbers. We would do the SEC fantasy basketball. There's only 3 of us, and Adu would be picked every week as like one of the best big men. So huge to see him back now. Arkansas is starting to roll, Blake. They're starting to pick up a little bit. I can feel it. I can feel the train starting to roll.
And really, we said it was a matter of health. Like, it's just getting everybody back. And they still don't have everybody. Like, you still don't have that game where you feel like everybody is there. Because, again, there's no Theo in this game. So, but once you get everybody back, like, they're going to be better. Like, they just are. Like, they have the talent, and it's just a matter of can Cal push the right buttons, right? That's what it comes down to. So, what are you laughing about?
Met Sam saying he needs me to get into therapy.
Sam, don't worry, Sam. You're waiting for the ad read. Just hang on a second. So, is Hank asking who's our new top 5 in the power rankings? Boy, we'll talk about power ranks in a second.
Oh,
so,
good. That's gonna be
all right. Well, unfortunately, there's one team that actually is probably not going to fall. They may actually stay in the same spot, but we were just unsure where to put this team, Max. It's why they were 15, I think, by default last week. But unfortunately, LSU, as of right now, the only blemish on the SEC's resume, on Saturday, they lose by 10 against SMU.
Yeah, and played a good first half, too. Thought they were going to get it. They're missing Reed a lot on offense.
Yeah, they needed him
a lot. Yeah, he would have been big. SMU's got some size. SMU's not bad, Blake. SMU is not bad.
They dominated the boards.
Yeah. You really miss. I mean, Corey Chest, he's doing what he can, but he needs some help out there. And you're already without Tyrell Ward, who was big for them down the stretch last year. This was a tough matchup, and especially without Reed, I mean, they just got dominated on the boards.
Yeah, this was not. I mean, 17 turnovers. Like, it's hard to win a game away from home like that. Just a terrible. Again, they were up at halftime. I think they were up 6, maybe something like that. But then they came out just completely flat. They got outscored. I think it was, I'm looking here. What was it, like 26-8 in the next 10 minutes of the game or something like that?
What was the first 10 minutes?
I think they were up 33-27 at halftime, I believe it was, and then it just went off course.
Yeah.
So
fast.
SMU was up 53-41 with 10:16 to go. So yeah, just completely.
Oh, good Lord.
Dynamic.
Yeah. That didn't go well.
Yep. All right. So 1 hour. We got through everything. A busy day in the SEC. We did it in 1 hour. But we still got to get to some of your questions and your comments. Boy, there's a lot of them. We still got 800 plus of you in here watching tonight on a Saturday. We appreciate you spending your time with us. All right, let's see if we're going to get to Sanders Logistics. Don't worry. I know everybody's waiting on Sanders.
We got some super chats, I think.
I know. I got to look at these real quick. So we had that one earlier. Josh, I don't know if Josh going $1.99 on super chat, Max. He's going Janai Broom, a poor man's Grant Williams.
Oh no.
What's Donovan got to say about that? Oh boy. Well, we appreciate the $1.99, Josh.
He knows what he's doing. That was good. He knows.
We appreciate you jumping in with that. All right. I did not. Let me start this one. Okay, before we get to everything else, though, you guys know we got to get something taken care of here. So, Max, let's say I wish I had a great setup here, but I just don't. We just talked about these games for an hour. I just don't have a great setup today, folks. But, Max, let's say you want to move to Knoxville, or let's say you want to move to Lexington, or perhaps you want to move down on the plains and live in the jungle at Auburn.
Yes.
You want to live inside the jungle. Bruce Pearl will have to kick you out. That's what you want to do, all right? Let's say those are your options.
Yep.
To do that, you're going to have to move. Did you know that?
Unfortunately.
Now, here's the question. Are you going to be able to move on your own, or do you think you may need a little bit of, I don't know, perhaps hassle-free, efficient movers to help you with the process?
I was going to say no, but if they're hassle-free and efficient.
Oh. Well, if you want hassle-free and efficient, then, man, I did not know you were going to say that, because I've got the perfect idea for you. How about you give our friends, who are about to pop on the screen as soon as I can find their logo, a call at Sanders Logistics. Again, your friends and mine, and friends of Sam Smith, as we know that, no question about it. Sanders Logistics, formerly Ted R. Sanders Moving, a leader among moving companies in Nashville, Tennessee, and the surrounding area. Max does not even live in Nashville, but I'm still going to find a way. That Sanders Logistics, they're such good people. I guarantee you they'll find a way to help us out and get him moved to the Plains, Lexington, Knoxville, anywhere else that Max wants to go. Because their team of professional movers are focused on delivering efficient, hassle-free moving at an affordable price. Max loves affordable prices. Drinking all the Diet Dr. Peppers that he had lined up, I saw today on Twitter. Whether you're moving across town or across the country, Sanders Logistics has you covered. Visit them at tedrsandersmoving.com. Check out our friends there. They'll get you moving on your way to your next stop there for sure. So,
nice.
All right, here we go. Let's talk basketball. If you want to carry your balls with you, you can do that with Sanders Logistics. Basketballs, that is. Nice. All right, so Josh for the $4.99 super chat here.
Thank you.
Listen. He goes, in all seriousness, because we see an all-SEC Final Four, the South may not survive. Josh, you know if there is one thing we are rooting for at this point, can you imagine a Southeastern 16 live at the Final Four? We're like, what do we do here? You know, it's like we can't lose in that scenario, right? So, but I mean, realistically, you know, I always say you got to look at the bracket and all that, but realistically, listen, if you're talking about how many Final Four capable teams there seem to be right now in the SEC, and, you know, again, bracket matters, all that stuff, but at least 4, like probably more than 4 right now, I think is the number. Maybe 6.
More. Yeah, I'd say more like 6.
Maybe 6 right now, I think, could be Final Four worthy. But again, that may be too low, depending on what we see happen in SEC play. So,
Blake, we both admittedly were, when we saw Oklahoma ranked at number 13th by the AP, we were like, whoa, that's a little high. They're up by 15 right now, 40-25 with 16 seconds left. I mean, they're just crushing Oklahoma State in a rivalry game on a neutral.
Nuts.
Jeez.
Absolutely nuts.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Alabama's up by 15.
Are there more Final Four teams in the SEC than in the rest of college basketball? All right, so let's say we set our number at 6 in the SEC that we think are Final Four worthy right now, which we said may be low, but elsewhere, Duke,
Iowa State,
Marquette.
Would
you put UCLA in there yet?
I have not watched UCLA, admittedly, but I know that they got this sophomore that's absolutely breaking out. Oh my gosh, his last name starts with it's Eric something.
Daly. It's Daly.
Daly. Yeah, Daly. Okay. Yeah. Yes.
They just won in Arizona today. So
really?
Yeah. I don't know if I would go there just yet, but we'll find out.
Okay.
But see, we're reaching here. Like Kansas probably still in that discussion. The Zags probably in there. But it's pretty close. Like I don't think you're that far off. If we go with that number, I don't think you're that far off. So let's see. Sam asks, no, I'm not. Chris is not in jail from what we know. So we are not aware of any.
Oh, Marquette
anything.
lost today. So. Marquette lost.
Did they?
I guess so. I mean, that tells you how many SEC teams play today.
I would say I've not watched anything but SEC basketball today, so I couldn't
here.
tell you what happened elsewhere. Except I did see UCLA, Arizona highlights. That's all I saw. So, shout out to Joshua, by the way. He's now a member. It just means more tier. He's going to get that members only content this week. New videos coming your way. If you are, by the way, if you just joined now or joined, let's say in the past several days, go back and watch the first members only video we did. It was a 1-hour SEC hangout. Me, Max, Chris, and Chase.
Yeah.
You're going to enjoy that one, I tell you, because it's not just us talking SEC ball. It's us talking all sorts of stuff. Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. It's all there, folks. You can find all that in that 1-hour hangout. And we talked about free throw shooting contests as well. So,
voice is going.
I know, mine is too. We know that. By the way, yeah, I think this is about right, Josh. I think those teams are about right on that. UConn, there you go. I was questioning that too. Like, do we put UConn in that discussion right now?
No.
I mean, maybe by just it's UConn, but they're not.
They lost to
it.
Dayton by 20.
Yeah.
Dayton might be
by
good,
the way,
though.
Shout out to Melissa, a member for 8 months here at the channel. SEC is going to be a dogfight. Go Cats. There you go. So it will be. It will be a dogfight. There's no question. Here we go. Here's a good one. $5 super chat. Has the SEC ever had 2+ teams in the top 8 seeds in the big dance before? We always seem to get underseeded, but they can't keep us down this year. So, okay, so he's saying top 2 seed lines. 2+ teams. We know they've had 2. Beyond that,
22, they had Auburn as a 2, Kentucky as a 2, and Tennessee as a 3. Just missed out.
I was going to say that. Yeah. What about 2019?
I went straight to that year. 19.
What about 19?
Same thing. It's Tennessee and Kentucky as 2, LSU right outside as a 3.
I can't imagine before that.
That's it. No,
like you would have had some of those eras where either, you would have had Kentucky, Tennessee, maybe Florida.
No, they're none.
I mean, and the rest of it would have just been random in terms of teams that would pop up each year, but those were kind of the constants. So, yeah, I mean, Auburn was back in 99, 2000 or something. But yeah, I mean, that's probably it. So, it could happen. Yeah, I mean, would it be surprising to get 4 SEC teams in the top 8 seeds? Not right now. If you seeded it right now, you probably would. So, yeah. So that'd be interesting. But
it's a great question, though.
Yep, it is a great question. We'll continue to look at that throughout the season. Virginia double dribble, $2 super chat.
That's great.
Not that we're going to go back in time or anything, but Virginia double dribble, $2 super chat. The SEC will be a race for the South number 1 seed in Atlanta. Yeah. Will it be, will it be Catlanta? Will it be all about the Tigers? Bruce Pearl's, home of Atlanta. Seemingly, we talk about that. Bruce Pearl, just the way he recruits Atlanta and all that. The Vols heading a few hours down the road to Atlanta. Oh man, I don't know, folks. There's so many possibilities the way this thing could play out. So, yeah, but we'll see.
Okay, hear me out. Auburn and Tennessee stayed a course the rest of the year. Okay. They stayed a course.
All right.
Florida or Alabama, or Kentucky, one of those 3 plays very well, outperforms expectations. Could there be 3 out of the 4 number 1 seeds from the SEC?
It's not that unrealistic, right? Now, here's what I think you're going to run into is, I could be wrong about this, but the way I see the ACC playing out, I just think Duke is just going to roll through the ACC.
Yes.
Because I just think that conference, we've talked about it. We talked about the challenge and everything. They'll lose some games, but I don't think they're losing many. Right now, they're projected to go 18-2 by Ken Palm. I think that's probably about right in the ACC. Yeah. And if they do that, like, sure, they're not going to have as many quality wins because the conference is not as good, but they're not going to be sitting out of a number 1 seed if they're sitting there at 28-4 or something, right? But I don't know. I think
Iowa State probably snags one if they win the Big 12.
But the thing is, that's where, like, and Donovan brings it up. If you get a situation where, let's say, the SEC winner loses 5 games or something, it's not going to hurt you that much in the metrics, folks. Like, that's what's going to feel different this year because of right now, you could have one of these teams lose 5 games, but there's still going to be a great shot at number 1 seed maybe. Because, I mean, it's like, can you realistically rank, let's say, the winner of I was about to say the Pac-12. I was like, whoops, no longer there. But again, it's the same question with Duke, right? Like, is Duke the number 1 overall seed in a scenario where maybe they lose 2 fewer games than an Auburn or a Tennessee or Kentucky or whoever, right?
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
Like, I still probably going to look at the team that has the strongest metrics, and it's still going to be one of those teams probably. So,
it's going to be so interesting how it plays out. I've never seen something like it right now in December, mid-December. I've not seen this.
Agreed. So we'll see how it plays out. But, all right. Yeah, hey, what's going on here? As you said, way too many people in here. 800 plus of you. We only got 5 likes on the stream. I haven't looked at it. So come on, folks. Just hit the like button. That's all you got to do. It give you a millisecond to do that. Helps us out. This helps us reach more people. You've already jumped in with Super Chats. You guys are gracious to do that. And the memberships, you continue to join. Our memberships have just exploded this past week. So pretty awesome. You guys are jumping in for the members-only content. So Donovan, you hit the wrong button on accident. Come on, don't be that guy, Donovan. Don't be hitting that dislike button. All right? That doesn't help us out. So anyways. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. We're going to give you the 2-minute warning here. Max and I are both not going to have a voice, but that's okay. We do this for you guys. So what do you think if we do on the next one, Max? We just do it. We both don't have a voice, and we just do it by, like, hand gestures, right? Like, you think we could pull off an entire Now, I don't know what we're going to do with Sanders Logistics if we have to do it with hand measures. I get a little toy truck, like, something got a little truck, just like we're just zooming
facial expressions.
Yeah, facial expressions the whole way. So, the Bruce Pearl podcast. Yeah, sound like one of these coaches who've been yelling too much. So, by the way, we have a guest coming up on Monday, guys. Forgot to tell you that.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Evan Maya, who we just bring up all the time here as stats. He's going to join us on Monday, so that will be a video we're going to put out for you guys. Probably won't be a live stream, but it will be a video. He's going to join us, and we may or may not have a coach joining us on the show next week. I haven't even told Max yet that, but may or may not have an SEC coach lined up set to join us next week as well. So, got some fun guests coming, and again, some of this stuff, members only next week. So, watch along's coming too.
Yeah, I was just going to say the watch along. I was trying to look at what game. I don't think we know what game yet, but coming soon.
Yep, coming soon. Watch alongs are coming. So, all right. Anything else, Max? Anything we didn't hit in the comments? Anything that I'm forgetting? Any score updates on these other games?
Oklahoma is up 43-26 at halftime. I mean,
LeBaron Philon doing his thing for the Tide, it seems, too. So, yeah.
Is Oklahoma going to be a national top 10 team?
Should we talk about Oklahoma's the number 1 seed? I mean,
what is going on? This is ridiculous.
So, all right. All right, guys. I think that's all we got. That's all our voices have. We appreciate you guys jumping in. So that's a great question by Josh. $1.99 on the way out.
It might
12-6 win the league. I think you would have a tie, but I don't think that's nuts. I really don't. But it's like we say that, but I'm telling you, some of these teams at the top, the way they're playing right now, as good as some of the teams in the middle have been, Max, these teams at the top are gonna win those games. And so it's really just a matter. I think that's where we have to look at the schedules. How many times does Auburn, play Tennessee? How many times do these teams at the top right now that we think are the top 5-6 teams maybe? How many times they play each other? That may be the biggest question. Who gets out on playing these teams this many times? Like, I think that may be what it comes down to. But so we talk about how hard our power rankings are going, and they'll be hard again on Monday. Will we have it changed the top? We'll find out.
I'm going to look into that.
It's just, I think it's how many times you play these other teams near the top it's what's going to come down to. Because I think you're going to see, again, this isn't, and this, we're over the optimists. This isn't sustainable for everyone. Like, it's not sustainable for all these teams to keep doing this. So you are going to have some teams that start to slip a little bit, right? Because they're playing each other. So it's going to happen, but
yeah,
we'll see.
I'm going to go through for power rankings, and I'm going to see is like out of those top teams, is there like an outlier, that really skips out. Tuesday, Blake, we got one marquee game, big time, Florida, North Carolina.
Yep, North Carolina.
Boom.
Yep. So
boom.
There you go. All right. We're out of here. Joy to the world. $4.99 super chat. We appreciate it. Best in the biz. You're calling us here. That's too nice. We're.
Thank you.
I don't know what we are, but we'll see.
We're not that.
we're not the best in the biz. Come on, surely we're not, right? But no, we may love it more than anyone else in the biz. How about that? We love this stuff.
There you go.
So,
there you go.
Joe, you're coming in late. We're signing off. So, we're still trying to get Joe a membership here at the channel, but it's all right. Go back and watch it. You got an hour and 16 minutes to work with. So there you go. And there's Sam with a vote of confidence saying that we are definitely not the best in the business. So we appreciate you, Sam, for all the nice words there as always. But there you go. All right, guys. Before you hop out, if you're new, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button before you hop out as well. If you just joined in late, go back and go from the start. We talked about every game. We spent a lot of time on these games. So go back and check it out. And, again, lots more fun stuff on the way. We got bowl previews and everything coming too. Monday, live power rankings. Ooh, live. Oh, boy, Max. We keep that train rolling. Live power rankings on Monday morning. We got a lot more fun stuff on the way. Join the It Just Means More tier when you hop out of here. Members-only content coming as well. Big interviews, guests coming up too. So, all right, guys, we appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon in Southeastern 16.